it's about like, so we haven't learned to integrate yet. That's coming. Like the majority of the gateway is going to be stuff like this, like find the integral of cosine from 0 to pi or something like that. And you got to actually like figure it out, which we haven't done yet. Then some of it, like one or two questions will be based on the quiz you just took. Be one question on this properties thing. Yeah, so that's what we're like building towards on the gateway. So number one is not a new thing. It's just integrating from 0 to 12 of f of x, and this is f of x. So that just means we're adding up the area of these pieces. This piece here is a circle with a radius of 2. So the area of that circle would be pi times 2 squared, which would be 4 pi, but that's only half the circle. So this piece is 2 pi. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is 4. So for the area, or the integral from 0 to 12, anything above the axis is positive, and anything below the axis is negative. So this would be like 2 pi plus 4. Nope. 2 pi plus 5 minus 4. Does that make sense? That's like stuff we've talked about, I believe. So I can call that like 2 pi plus 1. Well, when they switch these, so if you notice that almost always the smaller number's on the bottom. That makes us read from the smaller number to the bigger number. We read left to right, just like you're reading a book. If they reverse it, you're reading it backwards, and that changes the sign of everything that you look at. So, like what I would do, I can explain it 2 ways. The easiest way to me is say, oh, well, I know the answer from 0 to 12 is that. So when I go backwards, the answer has to be negative that. Like that's a totally fine way to look at it. Some other people might say, well, I'm going to look at it backwards and I'm going to flip every sign. So now under the axis is positive and above the axis is negative because we're going backwards. So it would be like positive 4 minus 5 minus 2 pi. Well, if you combine that, that's negative 1 minus 2 pi. And if you distribute the negative, it's negative 2 pi minus 1. It's like the same thing either way. Biggest piece you have to understand is when you're going backwards, the sign switches. The sign goes opposite. Right? But we'll practice these. These are not too difficult. So these are the properties. 2 of these you don't even ever think about. You just do it. If I'm integrating from A to A, like what's the area under any curve from 2 to 2? It's 0, because like with that base is 0, right? So I don't care what the height is. 0 times the height is 0. So if these 2 numbers are the same, so an example of this would be like the integral from 3 to 3 of x squared. That's 0. Reversal of limits. So I think what they're saying here is if I do from B to A, this is how they want it written. You change the sign. Nope, I didn't switch the. Yeah, I didn't switch the things. A to B. That's what we just talked about. When I switch the order of these 2 things, the answer becomes negative. That is way more confusing than actually doing it in the problem. Like that looks harder than it actually is. Constant rule. So if you have, if you have from A to B of like a constant times f of x, you are allowed to pull that constant out and not integrate it, and just worry about integrating the rest of it. So if you had like the integral of 3 times sine of x, you could pull the 3 out and just integrate the sine of x. So we could do that in derivatives too, if you remember. You can factor out a constant and then do the rest of it down the inside and then multiply by the constant. Again, these are this looks way harder than it is right now. This one, like I'm just looking at this looks confusing. It's not. What they're saying here is C is in between A and B. So imagine this is like 1 to 2 and 2 to 4. And think that helps it make more sense. Well, if I wanted to integrate from 1 to 4, remember you're just adding up areas. So from 1 to 4, isn't that the same as like going from 1 to 2 and then from 2 to 4? So you're just adding up like one part and then another part. And then you can say, oh, it's the same as the same. Again, I feel like I'm confusing you more than helping you right now, but it's not that bad. Noah's just so pissed off he's leaving. Okay. Yeah. These two, like, you never will think about this, but it's just saying, like, you can separate the terms on the inside, which we had that rule for derivatives too, but again, we never really think about it, you just kind of do it. When I do these problems again, it would make much more sense than the rules here, but for derivatives we had, like, if I said take the derivative of x squared plus 2x, we're allowed to take the derivative of this piece plus take the derivative of this piece. It's just saying you can do it like one term at a time. That's all that is. I'm not even going to write the subtraction one because you guys look more confused than I want you to be, and I would like to start doing problems to make those confused look away. So let's just jump to number 5. Or no, sorry, 3. This is the same one as from above, right? So this is 2 pi, this is 5, and this is 4. So from 7 to 6, is this the regular order or is that backwards? For number 3. It's backwards. How do I know that? Bigger numbers at the bottom. So then I'm reading it right to left. So you're going 7 to 6. So you're going in reverse. So the area between those two things, from 6 to 7, that area is 2. If I'm going in the normal direction, it'd be positive 2. But because I am going in the reverse direction, that would be a negative 2. That makes sense why I'm getting negative 2 there? Okay. 8 to 12, so I'm sorry, 12 to 8. So this is the opposite direction also, right? So the area from 8 to 12, or the integral from 8 to 12 is negative 4. So what's the integral from 12 to 8? It has to be positive 4, right? Because you switch the signs. And then that 3, you can just multiply, and that would be 12. How are those two? Okay. All right, if I look at 5, so 5 to 1, that's backwards because the bigger number's in the bottom. So I see here from 1 to 5 is negative 3. So if I just flip it and go from 5 to 1, that is going to be positive. Part B, sometimes it's helpful to make number line type thing for this. So I've got negative 2 to 5, but then I see up here it's like negative 2 to 1 and 1 to 5. And this might help you understand what's going on too. This tells me between negative 2 and 1, the area for the integral is 4. This tells me between 1 and 5, the integral is negative 3. And then they're saying we'll put them together. What is it from negative 2 to 5? So you would just add these two up, and it would be 1. Is that right? C, I'm going to look at, so I've got the integral from negative 2 to 1. I've got that here and here. So that's, I don't need to combine anything. I'm just looking at them. They did keep it in the same order, so I don't have to change the sign. So the integral from negative 2 to 1 of f of x is just 4. Plus 2 times, because I can just leave that constant there. The integral from negative 2 to 1 of g is 8. So if I add those up, I get 20. All right? Stop me if you need. Okay. From 0 to 1, be careful here. This isn't even like as tricky as they could have made it, but 0 to 1 is within here, like it's between -2 and 1. But I have no idea what happens in that interval. It could be like above the axis and then below. It could be below and above. It could be the same the whole time. But I don't specifically know this integral, so you can't answer this. So like NA can't know, something like that. What they'll often give you is like the integral from 2 to 4 is 10, let's say. And then let's say, what's the integral from 2 to 3? And they're seeing if you'll just assume it's going to be half. But you don't know that. It could be that from 2 to 3 it's 25, and then from 3 to 4 it's -15. It could be 5 and 5. It could be 2 and 8. Like, you don't know how it's broken up, so don't just assume you can cut it in half or divide by 3 or whatever they're asking you. So this would be also like, I don't know. IDK. For E, so the bigger number's in the bottom, so I am going backwards. So I'm going to look here and take the opposite of that sign, so -4. Then I'm going to multiply by that 3 in front, so that is -12. And then part F, does that, like, when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, that's going to be annoying, but it's not, because those are both 5s. So what's the answer? It's going to be 0. Questions on that anywhere? Piecewise, we can do the same type of stuff. Let's draw them and make sure we know what we're doing. So y equals 3 when x is less than 2. So y equals 3 is a horizontal line, but we stop at 2. And then 4 minus x from here after. Well, 4 minus x would be y intercepts 4, but I'm not putting that on there because it doesn't matter until I get past 2. Then I go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Okay, here I can start drawing it. Down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And it would look like that. And they're asking us for the integral from 1 to 5. So 1 is here. That one's open because it's just less than, and that one's closed because they're equal. I don't know if you can tell it's closed, but. So I got to integrate from 1 to 5, which means I need this rectangle here. So what's the size of that rectangle? 3. And then these two will cancel, right? That box and that box will cancel out because one's above and one's below. So then we really just need like this box and this is half a box. So it's like this part's 1.5. These will cancel out, so I don't need to worry about them. So my overall answer would be 4.5. Does that make sense what I'm doing there? There's a bunch of arrows and stuff. I don't know. It's hard to tell. We're good? Number 7, the absolute value of x minus 2 is like a v. It starts at x equals 2. We're supposed to go from 0 to 5. So this is 2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4.5, I believe. So if you add those up, is that one 6.5? Some of the different notes. Is that right? So Bowman. Questions there? Don't worry too much about that. It's because whatever's in there, it shifts it, but it's the opposite of the sign. So like x plus 3 in there would be over here at -3. You make the v. You're not really responsible for that. It's just used to like set up an example. Questions on 6 and 7 aside from 8 and 9. And then I'll show you how to do it with the calculator. So you guys can figure this out. It's just half a circle, but this is -2 pi this is 2 pi, and then this area is 2. So where they put the absolute value sign does matter. So this is saying, like, do the stuff inside the parentheses, which is the absolute value sign in this case. So do the stuff on the inside, and then take the absolute value at the very end. So if I integrate from -2 to 4, those two are going to cancel. I get 2, and then it's basically saying, what's the absolute value of 2, which is 2. But number 9 is saying, find the integral of the absolute value of the function. So if you have an absolute value function, you cannot have negative y values. So basically, anything that's below the axis just flips up, and now it'll be above the axis. So now that area would be 2 pi. These two are already above the axis, so they can just stay as they are. And then 2 pi plus 2 pi plus 2 would be like 4 pi. What are they? 2. Oh, I made them too big, didn't I? My explanation still makes sense, I think. So the radius is 1. So pi times 1 squared is pi, and then half of that's pi over 2. My bad. Thank you. So that's still 2. This would flip up and become pi over 2 up top. So if you add up pi over 2 plus pi over 2, you actually get pi. Well, plus 2. Or you could just say pi over 2 plus pi over 2 plus 2. Or you could say 2 plus pi. Those okay? Questions on like the first 9. Alright, grab your calculator. Let me show you how to do in your calculator. So there's 2 ways. Sort of like derivatives, it's kind of the same 2 methods. You could do it in the like regular home window, or you can graph. So if we do it in the regular home window, we're gonna go F3 for calc, F2 for integrate, and then what's the question in there? Square root of x plus 1 from 2 to 3?
X minus 1.
Square root of x minus 1 from 2 to 3? Alright, so I'm gonna type in where's the square root button? Square root of x minus 1 plus parentheses. Comma x is like your dx. So you're putting it, you're telling the calculator like what variable you want to work in. And then go comma 2, comma 3. Is that what it was? Is 2 to 3?
Yes.
There you go. It tells you like what you type, so it writes the integral up there for you, so you can compare to what you're supposed to do.
If it doesn't,
If what?
if it doesn't tell us the integral, do you know how to use
What does yours say?
whatever I typed in the equation? It doesn't show me that.
So, Heiko, what does yours say?
Mine says 4 times square root of 2 divided by 3 minus 2/3.
Okay, so that's the right answer, but you're an exact and I'm an approximate. Do you know how to switch? So hit mode, and then scroll down. It's like just under the next page. It'll say exact slash approximate. Hit a right arrow, so I put it in approximate probably. Hit enter, and then hit enter again to save it. What did yours do? Let me see.
I just said the equation. That's it. And it didn't actually give me the integral thing. The big answer.
Oh, but it gave you the answer.
Yeah, but it just did like it didn't
Yeah.
let me check that it matches the.
Huh. I don't know.
I'll write it again.
Is everybody good there? show you the other way also, because the graph is kind of cooler because it shades it for you. So I'll type in square root of x minus 1 in my y equals. Right? And then graph it, so go diamond F3 for graph. There's our graph. Everybody good so far? You got the graph, you with me? And then if you hit F5, number 7 is an integral sign, you see? The integral of f of x. So hit that, and then it's going to say, what's your lower limit? That's 2. So hit 2 and then hit enter. And then the upper limit is 3 and then hit enter. This is kind of cool. It shades it in for you, so it shows like what you found. And it gives you the answer. So either way, did you get lost somewhere? Yeah, so you got the equation in? And then graph. And then F5. And then number 7 is integrate. So it got the integral symbol. Hit enter. And then we're going from 2 to 3, so the lower limit is 2. Hit enter. The upper limit is 3. Hit enter. Does that get you?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want me to go either of those two ways again? You're definitely going to want to know how to do this, but you won't get your calculators on the gateway. So like this is more for after the gateway when we start like applying integrals, so we can do it way faster. But on the gateway, you'll have to integrate by hand. It's a skill you want. It's just not going to be useful on the next test. But you still want it. Still do it. Did I finish the like intro part then? So you guys get to work on the bottom part. Let me know if I can help. We'll do 6, 7 tomorrow. Oh, we're already there. Okay.
Probably tell you that it says that we can't find it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Before we try to find it.
Find 17.
And 19.
Yeah, it just doesn't let you do. I'm guessing it's because they don't
Okay, well,
include
17
the
is
absolute
an
value
absolute
for the dx.
Oh, it's not absolutely.
But 18 is, and then 19 is the entire thing. So
Yeah, I'm guessing because they left out the dx, it makes it like unsolvable or something.
But
They didn't leave out the dx. Or mine did.
But no, but like in the
The absolute value, like the absolute value,
they want
the dx is on the outside. Because in 19 it's on the inside. They counted it.
we change the
So the difference is they got the absolute value of the whole. Like do the integral first and then take the absolute value. Here, this is find the absolute value of this and then take the integral. And the reason I can't do it is because I don't know enough information about f of x and g of x. Like, yes, it's 4, but if it was like 8 above the axis and 4 below the axis, when I absolute value it, that becomes 12. But if it's like 7 above
whatever.
and 3 below, when I absolute value it, becomes 10. So I don't know enough about it.
Okay.
Like I don't know what's going on in between 1 and 6 because I have to take any part of this function that's below the axis and flip it up. And I don't know where it is. You guys can skip 18. I'm not that worried about 18. Does that make sense though?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you?
You start on 20.
I looked at it and I didn't want to.
That's how I'm
So wait, you guys do the work, like all of the work before you get to class?
No, I do it while he's talking.
No, I actually did the notes for you.
Bowman did. Phoebe just ignores me when I talk and doesn't work.
Yeah, if I need help, I'll look up and see if he's doing it. Like I literally, I waited until you did the calculator plus
Oh, they